Ariane Dubose balanced 2 paper bags on her hip while fumbling with her keys, her husband Terence Brawley a few steps ahead, a canvas tote on his shoulder and a carton of brown eggs in hand. They were talking about something small and ordinary, how the peaches were already bruising, how expensive the heirloom tomatoes were, just another calm Sunday afternoon in Tacoma, Washington. But their conversation stopped when they saw a police cruiser parked crookedly in their driveway. "Did you park like that?" Ariane asked, already sensing something wrong. Terence frowned. "You think I'd block our own driveway with a cop car?" A white officer stepped out, mid-40s, stocky, tapping his belt as he approached. "You two stop right there," he barked. This residence was reported for a possible break-in. Terence set down the eggs and replied evenly, "This is our house." But the officer demanded ID, ignoring their explanations. Ariane's pulse quickened as he rested a hand near his holster. They produced IDs, a phone showing their closing documents, even mentioned their realtor, but he barely looked. The street was quiet except for the slow passing of cars and the twitch of curtains as neighbors peeked out but said nothing. Terence tried to stay calm, he knew how quickly things could escalate. "Who made the complaint?" Ariane asked, her voice shaking. The officer, name tag B. Killian, didn't answer. Backup sirens began to wail in the distance. Soon, 2 more officers arrived. One younger officer checked their documents and confirmed the property was theirs, but Killian kept pressing, still doubtful. Ariane's hands trembled as she held out her license again, pleading for reason, while neighbors filmed silently from behind blinds. Just as the tension peaked, their elderly neighbor, Ellery Banks, stepped outside, leaning on his cane. "They live there," he called out firmly. "They brought me a pie last week." His voice broke the silence that had swallowed the street. He reminded everyone that he'd lived there for decades, knew the previous owners, and saw the couple move in. Slowly, the younger officer nodded, dispatch confirmed their information. The situation de-escalated, but the damage lingered. Killian finally returned their IDs, muttering they were free to go, though another cruiser arrived even then, flashing lights washing their porch in red and blue again. Ariane, still recording, asked for a report number and who made the call, but Killian refused to say. When the last police car finally rolled away, the neighborhood went still again, quiet but not peaceful. Inside, they unpacked bruised fruit and smashed bread. 18 minutes of humiliation lived on Ariane's phone. "You think we should post it?" she asked softly. Terence nodded. "Leave it in. All of it. People need to see." The video went viral within hours. Millions saw how 2 homeowners were treated as intruders in their own yard. Support poured in, but so did ignorance. Some defended the officers, some minimized the racism on display. The next morning, a brief police voicemail invited them to file a complaint, but offered no apology. Soon reporters reached out. One of them, Kalinda Rowan, came to their home and listened quietly as Ariane recalled, the scariest part wasn't the shouting, it was his hand on the holster. Kalinda's article, Home Interrupted, When Belonging Isn't Enough, went viral too. The city was forced to respond, issuing a hollow statement about community trust. Ariane rolled her eyes, but Terence reminded her, at least they're talking. Days later, their story reached the local HOA meeting. What was supposed to be about landscaping became about conscience. When the board president referred to the incident as a misunderstanding, Ariane stood up. "It wasn't a misunderstanding," she said, voice steady. "It was a choice." One by one, neighbors confessed, those who'd watched in silence, those who'd filmed instead of helping. Ellery spoke again. "It's easy to freeze. It's harder to act. But if we're a neighborhood, we should act like it." For the first time, people listened. Someone suggested a community accountability group, another mentioned bias training. Change, however small, began to take root. That Sunday, exactly a week later, Ariane and Terence sat on their porch sipping coffee, the same spot they'd nearly been kept from entering. "I never thought owning a house would feel like this," Terence said quietly. Ariane shook her head. I did. I just hoped it wouldn't. Later that day, messages flooded in from around the country, nurses, engineers, even a police officer admitting the story had changed how he saw things. Ariane wrote a reflection she titled How It Feels to Prove You Exist. I didn't yell. I didn't resist. And yet, my skin spoke louder than my name ever could. A few days later, a new sign appeared by the neighborhood board, Oak Ridge Estates, working toward better. Below it, a list, accountability committee, equity discussions, de-escalation training. Ariane smiled faintly. It's a start, she said. Because change doesn't come from silence, it begins with someone choosing to speak. And sometimes, all it takes is one neighbor willing to tell the truth loud enough for everyone else to hear.